John here, guys. This is how you check if your battery's charged.
Listen to me. You must practice. You must practice.
You, sir, are a shit pilot.
All right, pilots, arm them up. Go!
You're a shit pilot.
Hey, what the?
Yes, you're shit. You need to practice.
Hey, Steve.
What?
Code faster. Faster. Okay. Hey, what's up, guys? We're live. This is FPV Spill the Tea number 18. And we have a few guests today. As always, our expert in everything, Mr. Nice, Mr. NM Grower, Nanometer Grower. Then we have Johnny Five, famous YouTube star with 14,000 subscribers, I think. And we have Mr. Dean from Dean Drones, the big supporter and ambassador for all kind of drone racing. He's also a big supporter for our channel. It's a little bit sad that he's invited today because now it means that he's not gonna send any big super chats to us.
I'll open it in a separate window.
It's worth it.
Yeah. And yes, Marshall, this is all about synonym. So the first drama, all right, we are just for drama here. The first big drama, I wanted to just get it straight out, is that Carl finally sent goggles to Neil, and the real ones. The box goggles, Gox goggles, also real goggles.
These are kind of still Gox goggles because they're still in the box.
Yeah, they're still in the
They're literally box goggles.
Yeah, I don't know. Jennifer, what do you think about Neil still not unpacking his real HD goggles 2 that Carl sent to Neil?
I mean, you know, I like to leave the tags on everything that I own, but I would be hard to not open those.
Yeah, so this is like a next level of leaving tags on everything.
Yeah, we're going to get them opened.
Respect.
We can open them live on the stream. That'd be kind of wild.
Oh, yeah, we can do that. So we got Myopic, we got Brandon, we got Phil, Mr. Phil, how is it going? We got FPV Squatch. Yeah, welcome, guys. Today we're going to discuss a little bit about the International Open, about what happens there, some new stuff that we saw at International Open, a little bit about Westco Throwdown. Dean actually was also there with me at Westco Throwdown. And
First time.
So
Yeah.
I won't be the only one talking about Westco Throwdown. So
You guys are shit pilots who didn't come.
Yeah. I've missed it the last 2 years. I went 2 or 3 times before that, and that's a really awesome event. And look who else we got.
What is that?
They're coming out.
Yeah.
I had to get the bedtime stories out of the way, so I was a couple minutes late.
That's okay. That's okay. You can tell us a bedtime story, but we'll save it for the end.
Taksu is joining us. What up? Leo Jenkins also joining us. All right, Mr. Chris, how did you find the link to join our live stream today? Because I didn't send you.
Like a scavenger hunt. I got this weird letter in the mail that had this gold writing around the edge, and that's what I've been doing all day.
All
You
right.
made it just in time. Congratulations.
Yes. Just in time, because we were sitting here for 15 minutes staring at each other before the live stream, and Chris just skipped it all and just, I am here.
Nice.
That's
Just
the
nailed
dream. That's the dream for Neil, how he also dreams to show up. But I make him show up 15 minutes before live stream every time.
But I only showed up like 9 minutes before this time. Were you getting nervous?
You did. I was a little nervous, like, where's Neil? All right, so I guess since we have Chris Thomas and we're going to be discussing a little bit about IO. Chris Thomas, can you spill the tea a little bit about International Open? How many sponsors you got this year? Was it more than the last year? How many pilots were? Was it more than the last year?
So I don't have all the information you're looking for readily in my brain, just because I have such a good team that they handle a lot of that stuff. I know the pilot number a little the year prior. It was a much different IO year for us, of course, with the loss of our friend QT.
Yeah.
There was a lot of really close moments I felt this time. Sponsor support was awesome. It was great to see Trappy at the event. Trappy is sort of like the groundhog of IO. If he shows up, it's going to be a great party.
Yep.
But he showed up a little bit weirdly. Like he showed up 1 or 2 days later, and he like mostly slept in Cole's RV all this time. So, and then he left.
The deal of when the time changes, when you move as many time zones as he does to come visit, it's rough. Like we try to power through it, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, he stayed on like his home time zone and slept in the day and was up in the night, and that's not a bad way to do IO. In all honesty.
No, you're right. It was a good time. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't any real big controversy this year. No one's drone got smashed, so that's sort of the bar, which has been set really high. It was a great event. It's a good time. It's always good to see friends, and it's hard that last day to go say goodbye to everybody.
Yes.
Yes. Well, there was a little bit of controversy of the guy allegedly stealing a bunch of stuff. I don't know if we want to discuss that a little bit, but that's kind of what happened.
Is that something we should talk about? That was an uncomfortable situation. We definitely had to deal with a situation where a pilot had picked up a drone that someone had left on the table and initially claimed that, well, they left it, so obviously they don't want it. And so we ended up asking that pilot to leave. It happened right in the middle of the World Cup, the World Cup. So, but fortunately, like I was able to leave. Everything went well, and no other issues other than that.
Yeah. Someone was asking, did it happen at Westco Throwdown? No, that was at International Open. That's hopefully nobody steal anything from Westco Throwdown. Yeah.
I had a drone get stolen one time at Flight Fest.
Really?
Yeah, it was like one of my first racing drones. That was really sad.
That is sad.
It happens.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because I always feel so comfortable at our events to just leave my stuff everywhere. And like it's been left overnight or like, just left all my stuff to go back to the camper for a little bit or whatever it may be. And I think that I still feel comfortable to do that based on the community that we have. And there's always going to be an outlier. And I think that you handled that properly where we can all still feel comfortable about what's going on with our stuff. But that is a sad thing to have happen for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
I recall the last time it happened too in 2017 when we had this race at the stadium. I think somebody took a drone from Night Fury, or somebody was saying he's just lost it.
What?
You guys don't remember that? This was the first time I've ever heard somebody, took someone else's stuff. And then again, in how many years later, right? 8.
Yeah, that's what.
There were some accusations of some potential battery theft at Champs a couple of years ago. I don't know if it was, because when you have so much stuff at a drone race and you're moving around, you can just as easily misplace something as it can get stolen.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the outcome of that was, whether it turned out the items were stolen or just misplaced.
Yeah, batteries are a tough one because a lot of us have the same battery, and if you don't put your name on them, I always just think that someone accidentally grabbed a battery that was mine if I have one missing. That's just how I want to, like, the world I want to live in. But that's a really easy one to misplace or accidentally pick up for sure. I know that Yvonne and I both, even at this IO, had a couple of times where we went back to our charger and there was a battery not there, and I'm just going to kick it back up to somebody accidentally grabbed it.
Neil was even worried that his goggles got stolen, the goggles that Carl sent to him.
Yeah, for a little bit.
Yeah, that's an easy target. Just goggles in the box, brand new. Just
Yeah.
Brand new in the box is definitely a high priority target if you're into taking stuff. I would take.
Yeah, that's
for sure. Didn't even
The
have
only
my
thing
sweat
that
on them yet.
like the only thing I'll take without even thinking twice, if someone leaves an umbrella behind, I don't think anyone owns umbrellas. You know,
Fair game.
That's where you get. It's where you get them. You know, you keep one for a while, and then eventually someone else has it.
I know who took all the umbrella things. The umbrella guy from last year. He took all the umbrellas. And you see, this year he didn't show up because he's like, well, I got all my umbrellas. I'm out.
Right. I don't think you can, if you're dual wielding umbrellas, I don't know that you can have any more umbrellas, but it could be that, you may find a way to try wield umbrellas, and I'd love to see that.
Yeah. So let's move on a little bit to. I guess we can talk a little bit about IO a little bit later, but also, well, we have Dean Drones, and Dean, not first of all, but also he's a Tattoo sponsored pilot, right? And Tattoo just released their V6 batteries, which are like some magical chemistry. CT definitely not buying that it's some magic chemistry, but there they are. These are the batteries, and they also have 1600 mAh batteries success. And they're kind of cool. Dean, what can you tell about these batteries, please?
So what's very interesting, we've been waiting for V6 for quite some time, and I was pretty surprised when Benson, right, and Miguel, I think Benson is the regional director, right? He came up to me and said, look, I got an ST and then the other one, which is squarish, right? We're gonna check the center of gravity thing. Is it real? Is this a hype? Or, can you guys do some testing? And what we actually did is because, right, there are. Let me come back a little bit. So this one is ST. This one is a little bit like rectanglish, and there is another one which is more square, right? So we were trying to see if it makes sense that the shape of the battery plays any significant role in the pendulum effect of the quad when it goes in the corner, et cetera, et cetera. So right now, Van Frilov, which is my good friend and developer of the OZR, he has a virtual simulator, right, for drones where we simulate the frame, and it's actually a real flying sim which you can test in Steam.
Wow.
He is going to implement that and simulate both batteries, the square and the rectangular one, and see if it has any impact on the quad performance or how it corners, because they are using it for their Red Bull thingy, right, to test what's happening with the real plane if you move lower the round, etc., etc. So I'm still waiting for the feedback to come, but that is something exciting. Yeah. Other than that, a lot of people say it's a response to the SMC batteries, right? Which I don't think it's a true statement, because Tattoo has been releasing constantly new versions every couple of years, right? So I think it's just a coincidence that IO, they kind of popped up.
Yeah, it was definitely very cool to see Miguel at IO. I think this is the first time I met him in real life, and it's very cool to have like the big companies, big drone racing companies showing up at the marquee events, especially at MultiGP IO. Mr. Chris, did the Tattoo sponsor MultiGP IO?
They did. Yeah, Tattoo's been a pretty long sponsor with MultiGP, so always like to see them there. And I gotta add, I like the word rectanglish. I wrote it down. He's hearing that one. I'm gonna have to use that. So just so you know, like our home dynamic, we homeschool our kids. So my wife is like, teaches the kids a lot, and she hates it when I introduce words that I'm not supposed to.
Can we get a list of words that you have introduced that you're not supposed to, please?
Yes.
Later, yeah.
Oh Jesus! Look at that, Kevin.
Oh,
Damn,
Quad
Mr.
Doc,
Kevin.
we love you, man.
He wants you to acknowledge his howdy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Quad Doc saying howdy. I was actually able to catch Quad Doc over at the Pro Spec race, And if you ever wondered if Quad Doc actually races with that gigantic duck on the top of his pro spec that he posts like on Instagram, he does. That is flying on the track just like that. He had the biggest bag of cashews I've ever seen. It was like a 3-pound bag, and he offered me some. So thanks for offering me some cashews, Quad Doc.
I love cashews. They are the greatest nut.
I love Quad Dog. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Neil's like, I don't care about Quad Doc. I love cashews.
Quad Doc is the greatest doc, but cashews are for sure the greatest nut.
They're tasty.
Mr. Chris, so how much money Tattoo spent this year to sponsor MultiGP IO? or Miguel had to do something nasty to get sponsorship?
We don't offer the bartering system anymore. We eliminated that after the incident in 2019. So I don't know what the details are of the sponsorship arrangement. We have a person who handles that here at MultiGP. I mainly just try to look like I know what's going on. That's my job nowadays at MultiGP.
That's
Chris,
how it should be.
Let's shout out to the person handling marketing. Is it Alyssa, right?
So the marketing at MultiGP is handled by Henry. Enrico, if you look for him on Facebook, he's actually really heavily involved in drone racing in Italy. So not only can he go crazy with drone racing in English, he is also behind all the graphics you see for the Italian league that's out there. He does all the marketing, and then the sales department is led by AK Anthony Knight. So and Elise is in the sales department.
Alyssa is my favorite. I don't know. I can't stop.
Yeah. You gotta say something nice about Alyssa, Chris.
Yeah, I can say.
Alyssa is awesome, man. She is so reliable when it comes to these events, and she made sure we were fed even before the event started. If you feed me, I'm like an animal that has been now, tamed, and I will do whatever you need. So she's great, and I believe that she's in the running to be the new CEO. This just in from Dubicki.
Yeah, Dubicki in the chat.
Strong
Nice.
contender.
Dubicki, happy belated birthday. Or is it yours today?
Yeah. Say it again, Dean. Sorry.
Dubicki has a birthday either today or it was yesterday.
Yeah, that's true. Dubicki, happy birthday.
Happy
nice.
Birthday.
And Quad Doc.
Yeah, go ahead.
Quad Doc called out the yoga session. I was super excited to see Quad Doc show up for yoga at IO. That was really cool to have him there. This was the second year we did yoga at IO. I think it's going to be a thing now that it's 2 years running. I'll be doing it, and it's super cool to have anyone join me there. But was excited to see Quad Doc show up that morning for sure. And that was his first time to ever do yoga, and so that's a bit of an honor for me to get to lead anybody, period. But to get to lead somebody in their first class is pretty dope opportunity for sure. So thanks for showing up.
If the yoga now gonna be like a thing at IO, Chris, does Neil also need to pay to you to get it a real thing?
Now that you mention it, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
sorry, Neil.
Well,
I'm gonna sell tickets.
Stop me.
I mean, if he was charging, but he's giving away yoga for free.
He's giving away yoga for free. It's free.
So
well, the Street League guys also were giving away races for free.
Where they
true.
Yeah, Chris says that's true. So coming back to Tattoo, I have just a few words to say about these batteries again. So I got a few of these batteries at IO from Miguel himself. And so far, I really enjoy 1600 mAh. It's been great. Like, I've flown it a lot on the plane. I've flown them a lot at Westco Throwdown for open class, and the internal resistance is still pretty good. And they finally added like a metal things on the side. Because like if you open up the DocCom battery, they have like a metal things on the side to protect it. Tattoo never had them, and they finally added, but for some reason only on one side. So this side doesn't have it, and this side has it. I don't know why, but at least.
Can you lift up that other battery? Just a minute.
This one?
Yeah. Like I don't know about you guys, but the look of the tattoo battery, kind of that clear look, is a very formal, professional looking battery. And whenever you can't see the cells, they don't feel professional. I know that we're talking same chemistry and everything else. Is that just a me problem, or is that how you guys think when you see those?
I've never thought of it, but I do like having the silver on the side and the yellow on the top, because when you crash and your battery flies out, looking for like a tiny black object is a little trickier.
Yeah. Or camouflage, that'd be even better, right?
Yeah.
Just launch into the grass.
You can see also, you can see the cells open up if it's transparent heat shrink, right? You can see if they are damaged or if they are leaking, and if they're underneath.
Oh, I never thought
like
about that, but that's true.
That's really smart. That Yvonne, the way he gets around it is, in order to test if his battery's damaged, he tells you to lick it.
Yeah.
Well, sniff them.
No, sniffing is not good. You gotta lick it, and if it tastes sweet, then yeah.
That's science right there.
Yeah, that's
I think you need to make a Bardwell video and teach everybody how to test their batteries your way.
Yeah.
It might have to be 18 plus, though. You know, Yvonne tries to keep his videos kid friendly, and so that may come along with some words that you're not supposed to introduce to homeschoolers.
Yeah, well, especially if I want to call my expert during that video, where then definitely 18 plus, maybe even 21 plus. Yeah. All right, and then also another company I wanted to mention. There was a interesting guy, I would put it that way, who was showing his stack that he developed. His name is Josh. I don't remember his real name. His real Asian name, but his company name is Oxbot, and I was very impressed with the way he designed his stack. It's like a ESC and a flight controller. He really thought through where he puts plugs. They're all recessed. There we go, Johnny 5 showing it. They're all recessed, all conformal coated. The stack can be very slim, because nothing sticks out from the board. And the most interesting thing about that stack is that it has a closed source firmware, which I guess kind of puts a little bit of pressure also on AM32, because for now we have only, after Bill Haley thing happened, right? Now we have only AM32. We have Voltara, which I don't know if many people runs, which is also a closed source firmware. And now we have this. And this is very interesting. I think John and Dean already built the drones. I still haven't built a drone with it. Did you have to mess a lot with ESC settings, or they just work out of the box?
No, they worked out of the box. I asked if there was any race-specific settings, and there was only one or two things to change. If you've ever worked in BLHeli32, it's a very similar setup. I do like that they've moved it to a web-based interface, so you don't actually have to install anything. You can just pull up the web address to their Ox32 software. It connects the same way that Betaflight does, and you just change whatever you needed to change. But I flew it several packs before even changing anything, and it flew fine. I know that a lot of people, including me, were struggling with some desyncs, pushing on some of the bigger IO tracks, and I know Hyper in particular I saw had just converted over to AM32, and he was still having issues. I think he was regretting making that switch. So if you've been kind of switching back and forth, haven't put a tremendous amount of packs on this yet, maybe 20. I don't know how many you've put on there, Den, but so far it's been pretty good, and I haven't been able to desync it yet.
So I gotta ask, sorry, what means stud?
Wait, what?
Well,
because we got Miguel from Tattoo in the chat saying I am a stud, and I want to know what's that.
Most technically, and I think this is the most interesting definition to give you, it means that you are a breeding horse. That you are a male horse used only for breeding.
Actually, preferred for breeding.
That's accurate.
So, if someone calls you a stud, is it good or bad?
That's a compliment.
Oh,
It
he's
means you're
Yeah,
you're
he
a
gets a
good
compliment.
specimen worth making more of.
He wants to see more little lemons around.
Yeah.
We got
There's
Mike
two of
Chin
them
in the
running
chat
around.
also. Yeah. Mike Chin, and you just missed everything. So yeah.
Hey, let me chime in just.
There's two
Yes,
Mike
please
Chins.
go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to say about Oxbot, right? So I had a couple conversations with Josh, right? He's Joshua Liang on Facebook, and back to settings, Johnny Five, right? We actually changed quite a lot of things. I mean, I played around a little bit, and I mean, the main thing was changing timing, motor timing. I've tried to keep it like 16, 17. You know, it's an advance, right? When the stator moves, you kind of, the higher the KVE, the more timing you want to get. So the best performance, at least for my quad, was 21 timing, right? I've tried 16, 17, 18, and then we jumped to 21, and it was amazing. I felt a little bit lack of power in the corkscrews and the tight turns, but I think it was just in comparison with AM32. You know, when you switch from quad to quad, you kind of feel it's a little weird. Yeah, but what I was really impressed with, that they've tested top 10 motors on the market, including F50s, Black Series, X-Novas, right, VCIs, with their stack, making sure they don't desync. So it's not like BL Heli, which is a helicopter software which evolved into quads, or AM32, which I think was a crawler software evolved into quads. They actually built it specifically for drones.
Yeah, that's very cool. I'm curious to test it, but I'm too lazy. My Oxbot stack is still in the box.
Is it sealed though, or did you look at the flight controller?
No, I actually opened it, so it's not sealed, Neil. Like your goggles are still sealed.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not a goggle situation.
Yeah, Chris, can you imagine that Carl sent goggles to Neil, and Neil has sealed them in the box, like after a month. In the box, just
you're
sealed.
gonna really make those goggles last, huh?
Yeah, they're gonna stay fresh.
That's
I'm gonna leave them in the box as long as I had to wait to get them.
I've got a box of head plates still brand new in the box, unopened.
I think that's an investment. Neil is just making investment, right? You don't open your. Yeah.
He's gonna sell them on eBay. Like
we
5
got
years
Mr.
later.
Steven Ledfingers from Street League in the chat. He's asking what Johnny 5 cooking. Can you chime in on that, Mr. Johnny 5? What are you cooking?
What am I cooking?
Yeah.
Today I made like a really nice beef rib. The package actually said dino rib. Got it from HEB. It was pretty juicy. Is that what you mean? Like actually cooking, or like what videos am I cooking?
Maybe what you're drinking. I don't know. So because yeah,
it looks like marinade.
This is okay. That's why he said that. Now this is like it's like a michelada, sort of like a spicy beer thing.
And you just had a full can, and it's already almost empty.
Damn, yeah, John, you're gonna make it to the live stream?
I was thirsty.
Oh shit.
Yeah. All right. So we covered the tattoo. We covered Oxbot. And yeah, let's move on to IO. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I love talking about IO.
The main reason we invited Dean today is because he's gonna show us the new thing that might be becoming big at some point. That's what they're dreaming of, right? That's like a new league they are working on, and we wanted to invite Ferry, but Ferry said we're not important enough for, so, and he's like, yeah, you gotta he's like, yeah, talk to my secretary, Dean, and yeah.
I'm managing his calendar. Yeah.
So that was very fun thing at IO. Dean, can you please tell us what it's all about while I'm sharing my screen with the video that you sent me?
Yeah, which video you're gonna show?
Like the website?
Oh yeah. So I think in a couple of words, this IER, right, evolved from X class, because me and John's been passionate about big drones with 10, 11-inch props and higher, right? And X class was a big thing a few years ago and kind of disappeared because, I mean, obviously one crash costing $500 plus is not something you were looking for, right? And I think one of the commands we've heard at West Coast Throwdown when we were flying ARs was, this is exactly how the drone racing should have been from the very beginning, you know, because it's very visible, it's audible, and it's fun to fly still. You know, X class was really hard to manage because it was, compared to 5-inch, even compared to Street League, it was pretty heavy. So I think AR is a really good combination of visibility, performance, handling, fun, and it's spectacular, right? So the website itself, I think what the league, right, itself is kind of assumes that there are multiple teams that are built across the United States, right? So you can create your own team, build those drones, and then compete between those teams with each other, right? I just like the video. I don't know, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's a pretty sweet setup there, and we, had this first trial race, and I really appreciate you guys inviting Yvonne and I to join and participate in that because it was a whole lot of fun. Really fun to fly those drones. Really amazing to watch them fly, and the sort of gamification, the way the race actually works, has got some added elements that I think were a challenge to swallow in the beginning to understand what's going on there, but makes for some interesting little mini events happening inside the race that I think over time will be accepted to be really cool.
Right. So the gamification piece is something we've tested for the last year and a half, probably. So it's not like this league popped yesterday, right? We've been testing it for so long, and the quad that we were showing at IO, right? It's probably fifth iteration, right? And yeah, gamification is fun. So you can pull different cards, right? When you play one team against the other, and if you know that the pilots that's going to be running in the next heat, you can easily beat them on a hull shot, right? You play a card and say, okay, and you get additional point. So you can maybe win not by amount of laps, but the amount of finishing points. And the variety of cards can be edited at any time, right? We can add them, make them, I don't know, 30, 40 you can pick from. So at IO, it was just a trial, and I think it kind of popped. I really liked the demo and the race itself. It was a little bit ruined by the rains. We were expecting more flight time, and yeah, but it is what it is. I'm happy you guys kind of picked it up and made it a special event for us.
Yeah, that was very awesome. Fun. That was very fun, and to me, I don't know, maybe it will sound weird, but to me the most fun was when it was just me and Big Ramon just head on one-on-one racing. I don't know, it's just for the second place, because I guess maybe for crowd it was easier to follow, but also it was easier to follow to me. I just see Big Ramon, his giant drone in front of me that I'm trying to pass. And then the pit switch that we had to do, that was very fun, because we basically pitted both at the same time. And then Dean, you were running to swap my battery, someone was running to swap his battery, and everything at the same time. And there was also a lot of running involved, because I also did a pit switch for the previous race for these big drones, and it's a lot of fast running. That was very fun.
Yeah, even I had to run. But Yvonne said, crazy enough, that I was running faster than what's his name? Who else was on our team? Than Killian, if you can believe that. Yeah.
Yes, you were running faster than Killian, that's for sure.
I think you were jumping at the end, right, Neil? You were while you were in the air, you were screaming already, yeah, take off, right?
Yeah,
so technically you were doing the thing.
Every little tenth counts, right?
Exactly.
That's where yoga comes handy. You just gotta stay fit to,
I'm
to
so
raise these
nimble
big
now.
drones. Yeah.
And then Mike Chin just posted, and Yvonne, I sent you a link to it.
Yeah, I'm ready.
So I think what really turned out to be probably the best thing that could have happened for this league was the after the World Cup race, and we have I think we should just watch this and sort of recount all of it as it goes, because it really turned into something pretty wild and unexpected. So set the stage. This is the top. This is the podium of World Cup. Can we turn it up more?
Volume more?
Yeah. So yeah, we started with $100 from 533, and then Mike Chin blew it up by offering $100 from TBS, and then it just goes crazy after that.
That's Chris screaming something.
I got in on some of that too.
I have no idea what is happening right now.
Evan started it.
He did.
$510. We're giving this to the official treasurer of the OLE Racing. Here's a dollar. DCI 100. You're up to 600. Here's a dollar for DCI. 600 and 12. 632.
A little nervous here that one of the pilots crashed too early. With all this money on the line.
It definitely upped the stake.
$1 from Tattoo.
There's just money flowing in from all directions, getting shoved in John Pan.
Oxbot getting in on it.
Oxbot, yeah, look at that.
What is happening?
So yeah, at this point the main event is over, and then this is the podium of the main event. And all of a sudden, this craziness start happening for these 4 racers to go on these big drones.
I don't know that was money, man.
Well, that's me with my $60.
All right, these VTXs are cooking. We are looking for.
I'll go for it.
Collecting money.
I think at some point someone ran up and offered $3.
$1,300 from Quantock, the father of.
Just to see how much math.
All of it. Okay, I was not expecting any of this. I got $1.
All right. Hey, we need to. Okay, name it out.
Okay, we're gonna need to clear. We're gonna need to clear we need these guys on clear video.
Hey, clear. More.
If my math is correct. We're gonna do some remathing at the end. It's just a casual $1,432. No big deal. All right. All right, we have J-Box in green. We have Proximo in yellow, which means Yuki, your champion, is flying the blue LEDs of Din drones.
Oh, that's our
Pilots.
team, Din.
This is a race to 4 laps. The first lap is an oval. Arm your quads. We're going live on my go. And go! Yellow off to a hot start. That is Proximo out in front. Their oval is almost done. Proximo the first to get through the start-finish gate, followed closely by Yuki in the blue. Ooh, a little bit of ground tap from green, but he gets back up in the air. Ground tap from yellow. It looks like the green props
2 things that are crazy here on the start is first, how well you can see these drones from a cell phone video. That's wild.
Yeah.
And then secondly, just that, look how far back J-Box is after that. mistake on the first lap.
I have no idea how that happened.
And then watch him reel Yuki in is just wild.
J-Box has like two sides. When he unleashes that anger he has inside of him, he's a mean.
Yes, look at this. Already on top of him in one lap.
Crowd is screaming.
Let's see if J-Box can make the pass on Yuki, the reserve champion, turning it around.
I have goosebumps.
J-Box gets it a little bit wrong,
Me too.
which means Yuki gets a little bit ahead there. Oh, the green props on J-Box. Oh, a little contact. I think that might give Yuki the space he needs to get it done. Coming through the last couple of gates, and the blue props on Yuki is Yuki. Showing us that not only does he need Iron Man, but he is also able to fly a drone with mystery range for 1,400.
And how crazy that Yuki just won World Cup and also that right away, $1,500.
Right.
Nice.
And on a quad that none of them had ever flown before, on like other people's radios. It's just wild.
You want a fun fact about Yuki?
Yeah. That's good, Yvonne.
Yeah, so somewhere in the middle, when people were like throwing money in Ferry's hands, right? Yuki is like looking at me. He's like phased out, and he doesn't understand like what's happening. He's like, how much? And at that point of time, it was like $800, $900, and I tell him like $900, and he's like pull his guns down, like let's go.
That's awesome.
So that reminds me. I don't know if you guys know the story. You guys were kind of watching. So Yuki had earned Iron Man this World Cup, right? For those who might be watching who don't know what Iron Man is, we have a rule. If you're the TQ, which is a hard thing to be, right? So if you're TQ going into World Cup, and every one of your heats you finish in first place, with all the way to the very end, you go into the very last race into the Chase the Ace as Iron Man, which means if you win the first one, you don't have to win a second. You've won the whole thing. And he came over to me and he goes, I don't want Iron Man. What? Are you sure? He said, yeah, I don't want it. I don't want it. And I said, why? He goes, man, I'm a man. And then he
I'm
won
from Japan, he said, right?
That's what he said on the podium. I mean, that was a boss move, and I'm sure, like on that first round after he lost, he started having a little bit of fear, but
Reconsider his choices, right?
So, how was the durability? I mean, those things seem to crash pretty well.
Whoa.
When we were out there, Dan, what was the durability like on that drone?
We haven't broken anything.
Yeah.
For I think an entire event, we ran IO, West Coast Throwdown, MRI crashed it a couple times, and yeah, not even a broken arm. Yeah, durability wise, I think it's ready to go. So yeah.
Nice.
So also,
and the LEDs either were damaged in the crashes.
Yeah, so LEDs is a cob LED that I'm gonna show you. Get a roll of that, like a spare roll. So they come in rolls like this. They have $16 for 15 feet, right? So one roll is enough for probably 3 or 4 quads. So you can get the kind of price. How much is it to replace? If you get hit somewhere on the side, it can strip off part of it, but because it consists of like little segments, the segment turns off, so you can keep going and the lights are still going to be on. Yeah, long story short, it's a quick replacement, cheap replacement, and I think we had one quad that lost a segment.
Damn. We got a super chat for $250 from Mr. Rabbit Ambulance.
Whoa. That's a new record.
And he openly says that this is a bribe. Hopefully the next FPV Spill the Tea will be sooner than 4 months from now.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of has to be.
It does now. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was on the phone today with Mr. CT, and he told me the same thing, that we haven't done Spill the Tea in a while, and I felt disappointment in his voice, and that kind of hurts. When you hear disappointment in Mr. like an honest disappointment in CT's voice, like that hurts. So yeah, I appreciate the super chat. And we actually have something cooking maybe for next week. I don't know, guys, if you fly whoops, tiny whoops or micro drones, or whatever the little things flying. We're cooking something for next week. Maybe it will be Jesse Perkins joining our Spill the Tea. Maybe also someone else. We don't know yet. Hopefully it happens. We cannot promise yet, but yeah, stay tuned. I think that's gonna be maybe interesting, maybe funny, maybe it's just gonna be dumb. We don't know.
Maybe weren't supposed to mention who it was going to be, but it's kind of
really?
maybe
All
already
right.
too late.
Yeah. Well, we just still working on the list of people. All right.
Right.
Like,
Somebody,
nobody agreed 100% yet, right? So,
yeah, but with AI, now you just type them up and there they are.
We can have anybody we want, right? We just
yeah, this is actually not Chris Thomas right now. It's just AI.
Yeah, AI Chris Thompson.
It's a simulation.
Chris Thompson was pretty active in the group, so
he's terrible.
Yeah,
he's terrible.
That guy, you got to watch out for him.
Yeah, well, and if the micro drone dash tiny whoop thing not happens, I guess we will figure out someone else to invite.
Yeah, you guys, if you have suggestions on who you would like to see on Spill the Tea, just leave them in the chat and we'll come up with a list and go down the list. And if anybody who you suggest doesn't want to be on Spill the Tea, we'll make a separate list and read out the people who are ducking the Spill the Tea.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah. Or you can also drop an anonymous email to shit.pilot.live at gmail.com.
Is that real?
Yeah, that's real. I have this email. People been sending questions there. Not recently, really, because we really been quiet about Spill the Tea. But yeah, shit.pilot.live at gmail.com. Yeah, I think
we got to throw one more dot in there.
Yeah,
you should talk about best questions there.
If it's a Gmail email, the dots don't matter.
Oh, really? I had no idea.
Yeah. Pro tip.
Yeah. Look at that, Mr. CT. This AI CT knows some stuff. Like that's just like definitely AI comment. All right, so let's go back to IO a little bit. And CT already mentioned that we had a kind of a sad thing happened right before IO with QT. I don't know, CT, you want to say something about that? Like what happened and what did we do at IO?
Yeah, well, I mean, for most of us who knew QT, he was a very, very unique human being. I mean, most people are, sad, broken human beings that try their best to be nice and fail quite a bit. And he was at that next level of just people love the guy, myself included. So we found out, I mean, a day or two into the event that he had passed away. And I mean, it almost was like just a chain of sadness. Like anytime somebody new found out it happened, they had to take a moment and deal with it. So, it was tough. He was on my mind a lot, that event. I spent a lot of time, thinking like, what should we do? Just because he was an awesome guy. And so we finally came up with the idea that we were going to get the pilots out in the field, kind of make a big QT, which you saw the picture there a minute ago.
Yeah.
And then instead of a moment of silence, we did we let him fly his last pack. So we found like some recent FPV footage, and we broadcast it for people who were there. You could tune in on the goggles and ride along with him. And because honestly, it's a lot easier to cry with your goggles on. People don't see you, Callie's got a sticker that says I'm not, crying with her goggles. And that actually is what kind of, made me think of that about that. But, it was hard for a lot of people to lose him, but it was also, a great memorial to him. This was his family of peers that he has developed as he grew up. And, so we were all there. We had a really nice fire one night, and pretty much all the fire was just us standing around the fire, which was a big thing he used to love to do. Sit around the fire, put your phone away, let's just talk. And it kind of turned into people just sharing different stories and experiences of their time with him. And it was healing, I guess is the best way to say it. Well, I can't say it was fun, but it was, it was a good time for a lot of people who needed that moment.
Yep. It was classy.
Yeah.
Yeah, QT was a great guy. Always had the hugest smile on his face. I remember this photo that you put up of him in the little eagle suit it was like 1 or 2 IOs ago. And that he was just going around just putting giant smiles on everyone's face. Like, yeah, he's just such a great guy for sure. And like, will definitely be missed. It's tough to lose anybody, but to lose someone in the community that everyone was so close to and everyone felt so positive about that makes it hard for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And this thing was pretty cool that we did. And because I was standing somewhere here, I think that's me in the red hat, and I was like, no way we can make it nice. And then when I saw this photo, like, I was like, damn, we really did a good job of making these letters, because from there it just looked like an uncontrolled crowd. But we managed to pull it out. So
yeah. What's let me add here too, super quick. So he hit me up like 2 days before IO and asked me to bring some spare parts, because he was my favorite guy. I was always like giving him free stuff and goodies and here and there. And then when I learned that it was the only package, like I carry them in like blue envelopes, similar to Din Drone's logo, and it had QT on it. This was the only parcel that didn't get picked up at IO, and I just cried, the whole afternoon. Just couldn't look at it, and I brought it home and I looked at it for the longest time ever. It's so heartbreaking.
Yeah. Another pretty interesting first to this IO, to sort of change the subject, was the build and fly race that we did this year.
Yeah.
We did that. Did any of you participate in it?
Did. I missed it all. Like, I'm curious to.
I'm a shit pilot. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
So tell us what happened there.
So, well, first of all, there was 24 kits that were sold, right? And it was everything you needed to build a drone. So you received a box. When the time started, you had to build your drone, get it ready to fly. If you wanted to test it, you had to specifically run out to this test zone and test your drone. Then, once your drone was ready to compete, you would put it on a table. Once you placed it on a table, a 2-minute timer started. So as the time was ticking, if anyone else got a drone ready and they put it on the table, they were going to join you and the timer would reset, right? But once the 2-minute expires, whoever's drone is ready to go would be in the race. And so it was great is, Evan is perusing the pits and like looking at the different strategies, because we're trying to call the event and it's hard to say who's leading, because, this guy over here has put his whole frame together, whereas the next person is straight to electronics and hasn't even started assembling a frame. So to know where they were, we're trying to bet on who's the leader, and we don't even know who it is. Then there was some, drama when someone tries to bind their drone, but someone else is trying to bind, and they end up binding each other's. So at the very end, right before the champion was awarded. The pilot who won was an Italian pilot. I forget his name, but they ran over, and actually 3 drones got on the table, but 2 of the 3 had an arming issue. So it was just really one pilot who had to finish his 3 laps, and every time he hit like literally everybody's watching him fly. He's the only guy on the track. The drone is not tuned. It's not flying very well. Camera angle was pretty terrible. And so it was pretty exciting watching him finish.
Was it close race in building? Someone got close to finishing the drone also, or
3 pilots finished like right at the same time, including Lundy. Lundy got his drone out there, but some sort of binding issue, so he had to pull. And then I forget who the other pilot was.
We call it ERR issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was way more exciting watching them build drones for an hour than I thought it was going to be. Let's say that. It was
so a quick break. I gotta share my screen again. So right when I announced the shit pilot email, first of all, I got the email from Mr. Quad Dog. Sending this picture.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, but the first email actually I got from anonymous email, from anonymousemail.eu, and it says Amari was abusing the BlueJay bug during Prospect IO and other races.
Wait, what does that mean? What does that mean?
I think that's already pretty much public information. Like, I don't know how much it affects the racing, but I don't know. Yeah, Neil, you want to say something about that?
Yeah, well, I don't think it should be a secret, but there is apparently a old version of BlueJay. And Amari, I'll just say, like, hats off to Amari there's a quote that I've seen of like a meme of Amari that says something along the lines of, every rule book is just a list of exploits that have already been found. And so that's how yeah. And so he is the sweatiest person I know in like the most positive sense of the term, and like really works to find the edge and any advantage he can possibly have to stack that on top of his already incredible pilot skill. It makes him pretty dangerous to compete against. So he or someone will say dug deep through some BlueJay release notes to then find that there was a version of BlueJay, and in the release notes there was something along the lines of fixed RPM reporting data or something like that. And so in the versions prior to that, or in one version prior to that release note being fixed, there was like an error in the RPM data reading that read like 2 or 3%, I guess, slower than it actually is, which then allows the quad to get 2 or 3% extra RPM, which doesn't sound like much, but if you are, if you're as good as Amari, and also if everyone is flying the same speed, very slow drones, 2 or 3% more RPM is enough to make a pretty significant difference. So I know that there's been talk about some rule changes to like say that you have to have current release firmware or whatever it may be.
I'm pretty sure like on the MultiGP side, we've already banned BlueJay.
Yeah. So I think it'll be the last time that got to be exploited in a major race, but it was it's enough to make a difference for sure.
But did you ban like all the BlueJay or just the old versions that has this problem?
I'd have to double check, but I think the last decision we made was BlueJay is just not allowed.
Yeah, because at Westco Throwdown...
Okay, so here's Sean saying it's now release versions only of BL Heli and AM32.
All right.
BlueJay has been banned.
Yeah, so at Westco Throwdown for Street League, they had a rule of that if you fly BlueJay, you gotta come see Sky, and I don't know what Sky exactly is doing there, but maybe some nasty things. But I think the thing is, if you can fly BlueJay, but not that version. kind of makes sense also.
Yeah.
What about Oxbot? Mike Chin is asking. Someone gotta test that. How accurate the RPM readings from Oxbot. Yeah. So Mike Chin also. Go ahead.
I said Amari will test it.
Yeah, Amari definitely will.
Amari will. Oh man, it's so slow. So Mike Chin is saying that I'm honestly surprised people don't make their own targets. I think it's in the rules that you have to fly publicly available firmware that like official released firmware. You cannot make your own thing. Although nothing really stops you from doing that, but we all know that cheaters go to hell, like Neil says.
Yeah.
So that's like a legit cheating of making your own target. Like, it's even easier to do in Betaflight, but you know.
So even coming to cheating, right? I've heard that a lot of Asian races, manufacturers do special batteries for pilots, right? They cherry pick or fake the amount of Ma that are labeled. So I think our racing is not at the point where, the competition is that high, but it might come, right?
How that help you if you do like a battery that labeled with the wrong Ma? How does it help
if you don't do the amount of lap, if you can do the amount of laps, like Japan, for example, does 12 laps, and then you can spec the battery. You can play around with that.
So like they have to do certain amount of laps, some ridiculous amount of laps, and also they're not allowed to run a big battery Ma.
You say 2200 Ma, right?
Yeah.
That is publicly available, and then you have 2500. Or, right, the same with the Pro Spec and Street League. If you have a little more capacity, then you can kind of punch. Your internal resistance is going to be lower, right?
I don't think it helps for anything like with a Street League or anything, like, because it's still like all RPM limited, and unless we start setting these weird rules like, oh, you have to fly 50 laps, like then that matters. But at none of the races we're really close to, and none of the spec races we're really close to killing the battery so that it actually counts,
But I agree, the last lap is, you kind of feel it, right? That it's no longer giving you the juice that you want.
I don't feel it. I don't know. Maybe someone else feel. I don't. Well, I'm a shit pilot, so
we all are.
I was just thinking,
yeah.
I was going to say that somebody's stealing Neil's battery. I was gonna coming back to stealing. I wouldn't take it because you guys beat the hell out of your batteries. I would never pick it up.
Well, Neil also keeps his battery fully charged between IOs. He came to IO, the battery is still charged from the previous IO.
Hey, that's green. You don't want to waste all that juice you packed in there, right? It's
that's also
like a fine wine.
Helping the planet also, because if you discharge, you wasting energy for heat, and then you don't do that.
It's part of my yoga, right? I have to save the planet too.
Yeah, I can also tell that especially at Prospect, no, not at Prospect, sorry, at the Street League, especially when there is a boost, because I use boost at full throttle, so I usually waste all my 3 boosts on my first lap. But then my second lap is just the same time as the first lap, and then my third lap is also the same time as my first lap, despite all the boosts and stuff. It just tells that I'm shit pilot.
I think you get distracted more pushing the button or whatever you have.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yvonne has his setup just when he hits 100% throttle, it boosts.
Yeah, so I don't have an option. I just boost on my first lap 3 times, back to back. And,
we had a guy who built a pedal that connects to your radio, and you press the pedal and it boosts.
Oh yeah, someone showed me at Westco Throwdown. He built a pedal without any wires for Street League.
Like wireless.
Yeah, it's like a wireless. You put it anywhere, and I was joking that Neil would put it up his butt so that boosting. Yeah,
totally. How'd you notice what I would do?
Yeah. Maybe that's what you're already doing, right? Nobody checked, so maybe that's why you're so fast at Prospect, that you have the extra boost that you use. Hidden boost.
It's called a boost plug. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't go into details, please.
Yeah, Kestrel FPV says that. Yeah, I remember it was something with the garage door opener, TX and RX, and they somehow built something in the radio to do that. So, but we also have Heart of America, Mr. Sean, father of Freedom Spec, in the chat, and he's not a fan of Boost. So,
me neither.
Yeah.
But I'm always happy to have a reason for a good plug. So.
So now you like this Boost again since this invention, like
hey, mention Freedom Spec though, because like I was super excited to have Freedom Spec back at IO. I love Freedom Spec so much. It is my favorite spec, mostly because it flies amazing and you don't need a different drone or different battery. It's just already the quads that everyone already has. And I think that sometimes that's a barrier to entry to specs, is people having to build a different drone. So I was super excited to see Freedom Spec back again at IO. And I want to see Freedom Spec racing happening again. I'd love to see its own series again, like we had a couple years ago. That was like really my favorite. So anyway, I was just excited to see Freedom Spec back.
And Neil, I think ProSpec, right, is now open source, so you can fly it in Street League. Which is very exciting.
Let's see. I even have the picture for that. That someone officially from MultiGP page, I think it was Sean Ains, posted that the Prospec frame is now open source, so you can use Prospec in the Street League. And I asked
that makes me happy.
Yeah, and I asked Street League guys, and they confirmed, yep, that's totally cool.
But you're gonna be super slow.
You can make it overseas without having to pay tariff stuff.
Nice.
We're only giving money to governments.
Yeah, especially Chris don't give money to government.
I give plenty to the government.
Yeah, that's how some people get rich, right? It's just, yeah. Yeah, that's exciting. Now you can run Prospec on the Street League. I was wondering, so it's open source, so technically you can like modify it, and then it still will be legal in Street League.
I don't think.
Oh, we need to strap a rock again.
Yeah, but it won't be legal for Prospec if you modify your frame.
Oh,
It has to be that frame, right?
Yeah.
And it's open source, but you cannot modify it if you want to run in Prospec.
You can do whatever you want. You just can't run it in Prospec anymore if you modify it.
Yeah.
There you go.
And speaking of the Prospec and IO, my favorite race at IO, Chris Thomas, what do you think was that?
The 2 pilots, 1 quad.
No, I didn't take part in that. No, my favorite race was the freaking 901 Oval. Yeah. And let me share the video. It's gonna be no sound because I don't know how to share sound from the video. But we had like 901 team crew organizes the race. They did like a fireworks. Landy was on the microphone, and so we launch with the fireworks. When fireworks doing poof, and then when fireworks explodes, you already fly. And then CT was standing in the middle of the track, right? CT and still shooting the fireworks. Yeah, and that was very fun.
It was a great experience.
Standing in the middle of the track and shooting fireworks.
That's the way to watch an oval race.
That looks good.
Yeah, and yeah, it was in the night, as you can see. Everyone had LEDs except 1 quad. I think 1 quad didn't have LEDs, but they didn't disqualify him. Yeah, it was like 12 laps. And Mr. Neil and Johnny 5, while that was happening, they were waiting for food in the restaurant.
No, that's not where I was, but...
No, that was the night where you went to the restaurant, and remember that long waiting?
Oh, well, that's true. I mean, we were back, but...
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I didn't make it. I'm sad that I made the daytime oval race, but I missed the nighttime oval race.
Yeah, that was fun, and you can see. Yeah, go ahead.
Also, out of this, I don't know who called it, but they made the decision to do a half oval, half regular race here, where you would do 1 oval and then you'd fly the course and do another oval. That was pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, it was very fun. But the thing is, you have to finish with a novel. I think that's important. But yeah, so this oval race, yeah, I really watching this video and smiling because I was there. Remember all this, the vibes going around there. Some people were partying already, and I was partying already there too because it's just a novel, right? So but you can see here Amari in the lead. This is like a final 8, and Amari is like, I think he like lapped me. Speaking about the BlueJay, but
you could see. I could see from standing in the middle that his straight line acceleration was noticeably different than the other quads.
Yeah, but also I gotta say that probably Amari would still let me in ovals even with a normal firmware because
you're probably right.
Piloting, you might think that the oval you just fly oval and there's no much piloting, but it's still a lot of skills to do that. So Amari would still beat me for sure, and probably still would beat everyone. I don't know about everyone. There are fast pilots too, but yeah. And you can see someone shoot fireworks. I tried to film it. And I was too late. I just went for the smoke.
Thought you were looking for Chris Thompson there in the middle.
Yeah, I knew it's Chris Thompson. Yeah, and I think shout out to 901 crew and shout out to not sure. I think he brought all the fireworks, and we definitely need more fireworks next year because this was fireworks only for finals. We need more fireworks for every race. Like I don't know, starting from like B mains or C mains, just more fireworks. Yeah.
The shot with Yuki.
I was going to be a fireworks convention with a few drones in it by the time we're done.
Yeah, that's how it should be. I'm ready to donate some money for fireworks for next IO for oval race by 901.
Nice.
Yeah,
Matt King did for the set it up for the World Cup, and he did the last year as well. And so a lot of this time planning, he was one of the guys out there helping run timing at World Cup, and he was like, "Man, we're going to really get it dialed in this year," and they got it really well this time. Like it was spot on. It was perfect.
Yeah. So speaking about IO, there was a little bit of drama also happening at IO. That some people, I'm not gonna point fingers, that they were disappointed that Tiny Whoop tent was just tent, not Tiny Whoop. Mr. CT, how do you explain that?
Well, there's a lot that goes into that story. So for years, the Tiny Whoop tent up front was where, there was the Lady Luck bar, and that's where the Tiny Whoops float. But this year, we decided we were going to move the, real serious racing to the warehouse. That way they could get a lot more hours of flying, because where that tent is set up right there on the main stage, when people are flying on the main stage, you can't fly whoops in that tent. Plus, there's no air conditioning in the middle of the day with the sides down, because you would need the sides down. It's pretty hot in there. You don't really want to fly in there. So we decided to, leave the Lady Luck style bar experience on the main flight line, and then use that place we normally use as registration for an indoor air conditioned space for racing. So that's essentially what happened there.
Is it going to be like this next year too?
I don't know. We haven't gotten around to deciding whether we like it and want to repeat it, or if we want to, change it.
Yeah,
I think from some of the Whoop pilots that I know, I think they did enjoy having a separate space. I've heard in the past that as the races go late into the night, they're pushed later and later. Usually I bring Tiny Whoops with me to every IO that I've been to, but I haven't actually raced them because the racing starts, once World Cup is done, and sometimes it gets pushed to midnight, a lot of times because of weather or something else.
Yeah.
But I think that they enjoyed being able to run their full race. But it was funny when, after I think World Cup was done, we were just kind of hanging around on the track, like everyone's high-fiving and having fun. And CT was telling us, "Hey guys, come over to the Tiny Whoop tent." And if I just out of nowhere says, "There's no Tiny Whoops in there, it's just tent," and I just died. I almost fell on the floor. It was awesome.
I actually
I
agree
think
with
that-
Justin. Yeah, sorry, Neil.
No
I think
worries.
it's kind of cool to do two kind of races. One is serious, and then the other one is fun. Because I attended Tiny Whoop tent once, I think last IO, and it was a disaster because I'm not used to fly those, and it's really hard to maneuver in between the people and trying to compete. And then if you want to really be competitive and fun, yeah, you just go a different location.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this, like, it was sort of a last minute changeover with the exchange because up until like, I don't know, a month before the event, Jesse was going to be running that tent, and then it switched over to We Bleed, and so Jeff came in and set up the tent, and we did the other racing, and didn't really quite know what it was going to be like having those two different things. Plus, I mean, even that Saturday night, which normally there's a big party in that tent, the majority of us moved outside to do that fire thing for QT. So it was just a sort of weird, unique event. But, it takes a lot of work to get the whole main stage set up with the pilot pits and the productions and the stage. So we definitely want to make sure that gets used a lot. And so then it's very difficult to we can't shut that down for whooping. So as long as what's happening in that tent is okay to be flexible with what's happening on the main stage, it makes sense for the tent to be there. Otherwise, if we wanted to do a lot more whoop racing in a tent, we would want to move that tent away from that main stage, or we could keep
I kind of like the idea of let's have serious whoop racing in its dedicated place, and then let's have fun whoop racing in the tent. Like there could still be a small track set up sort of above everybody's heads, like years of old, and there could be like fun fly racing in there at night, and like party racing. But then there's like this serious, the actual IO whoop championship race goes down in the hangar, and I think that's kind of like the best of both worlds for sure.
Yeah,
I like it.
I mean, IO is supposed to be the biggest event for drone racing. There's so many tracks and so many different things to do. In 1 minute, you could have 40, 50 people in the air simultaneously. It's a ton of work to make it happen. And we never get it perfect, but we always make it better. Every year it gets better. I mean, from the early days of IO till now, it is like I went from dreading the event to loving the event because of how good the team is and like how in sync we are now. It's night and day different.
Chris, by the way, a good indicator for how good the event is, I think we've had a lot of international pilots, teams, and coaches that were coming just to see how to run the event itself, right? Those guys from Kazakhstan that I met over there, they were there to pick up, how you guys run lifetime, how you do production and heats, and what is ZPQ, and et cetera, and they were amazed. Like, how can you squeeze the maximum amount of packs in a minute, right? In the among the tracks.
I mean, the world needs more of that. The whole initial motivation of MultiGP was to help people form chapters and give them the tools and resources they need to be effective. So if they can come out to IO and learn and take it back to where they are, and next thing you know, there's more drone pilots. That just makes for a better world. We're trying to beat furries, just so you know. I use furries as our metric against drone racing. There are still more people in the furry community than there are drone racing pilots. So until we beat that, we're second.
We got work to do.
We got to get to work.
So, hey, Chris, we need a business trip to Germany. I've heard this is the German race organizers so far the most efficient. So they do more packs than we do at the
We're running we've sanctioned their European Championship coming up in September. And I am seriously considering a trip. Like, I love an excuse for a trip. Anyways, and absolutely not to the drone racing furries. You're not welcome, just so you know.
Hit me up. I'll go with you.
I'm sure. Right. There's one right here.
Robert's probably going to be there, but, we'll have him come hang out as well.
Yeah.
That'd be good. I was invited, to an event next month in Malaysia I was trying to make it work in my schedule, but it's 24 hours of travel one way. Like,
yep, it's a big planet we're on.
That's a lot, and I can't go somewhere like I can't travel 24 hours just to stay for 2 days. Like forget that. I got to
Not on
stay
trappy status
a week or more to make it make sense.
Yeah, someone in the chat mentioned the VIP section at IO, and that's pretty fun. And as being part of VIP section, thanks to Neil, because we had a VIP section for our chapter, but also thanks to CT, we even had a waiter there that was bringing us beer. How did that happen, Mr. Chris?
All right, listen. So there's in a good family dynamic, there's always a little bit of hazing that happens. And we just happened to have a great volunteer who had stepped up, and I asked them. So my form of humor that I really like, for those of you who know me, is deadpan. I love to like say something with a straight face. It just results in interesting reactions. And I told him that, man, we really made a mistake. We have these VIPs over here, and to provide a waiter. Would you mind just like filling in right now without even skipping a beat? He ran over and started helping, and it was a lot of fun. Obviously I told him the joke later. I didn't just like make him feel like he was going to be stuck as a waiter the whole time. But it did help when you guys started tipping. That was a real helpful part of it.
He was so awesome. Surprised. I gave him the $1 that someone gave to me, and he was so surprised.
Yeah, that was great, and he was super excited to be in there and helping out too. So, like, what a great guy.
Yeah,
and he was like, I don't know what kind of VIPs you told him we were, but he was like ready to take care of us for sure.
Like I said, we have a great team. The really good people there.
Yeah,
I had some fun. I had some fun in the event, because volunteering at IO is a long day, lot of days. It's like 7 days of about 14 hours a day usually, which I love it. I mean, I enjoy it, but it is long, and there are moments where you're like, what am I doing? So one of the pilots during the Pro Spec event came to me, and he sent me a text that he won. And because we take pictures of them, with their trophies, and he's like, hey, could you text me the picture of winning? So I respond to him, and I send him the picture later, but it's not him. I know it's not him. And so he's like, no, that's not me. And so he sends me a picture back of himself. But he's Android, I'm iPhone. So I just tell him I can't get pictures from him, even though I'm getting his pictures. And so I just continue to send the wrong picture all day, like just through the day, keep sending him photos. They're not him. He's so patient and nice the whole time. And meanwhile, I'm just kind of chuckling because I'm working and doing all that. And finally, he just says, you know what? Forget about it. I don't need the pictures anymore. So I ended up sending him all the pictures. And I responded to him later the day, hey, he keeps bugging me for those photos. Did you give him his photos yet? So like we just kind of it was like a whole day of just messing with each other. It was a lot of fun. That's my kind of humor.
That's your kind of humor.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Also, my mom came this year and helped out at IO.
That was great.
That was a big hit. My mom and stepdad, they were great. They came out. It's nice to see them. Now, of course, my mom loves to share embarrassing stories about me, which I told her that's a fair price to pay for a good volunteer. So, go right ahead. You can share. And, that was
awesome.
Yeah, and so your mom was. Yeah, go ahead, Neil.
Sorry, one last comment about the VIP. So next year, though, trappy ones, and I'm going to design it into the track.
In the middle.
Caged VIP area in the middle of the track with raised gates above it. It's going to be so sick. And you already said the best place to watch a race was from inside the track, already in the stream.
Without a doubt.
Next year, VIP tents available, $200 per club. And we are going to be building a cage in the middle of the track that's where the VIP tent's going to be.
I wouldn't say the cage in the middle of the track would be impossible. What I would say is I would probably lean away from putting obstacles too close. Not because I'm worried about the people getting hurt. It's that I don't want drones to get caught in a net and take us a long time to get them out.
Yeah.
Right? Because that could really slow down.
No, like we will help from inside. We'll have like a sticks that we just poke drones, you know.
It'll be like Disney where they sell your kids the LED sticks, but they're designed to push drones.
And like we can even do it during the race. Like if someone gets stuck and wants to continue racing, we just push him out from the net. And yes.
Wasn't it
really
Reno?
The LED sticks that you guys were using and making images.
That was great.
Chris, I think there was nationals in 2016, right? Reno, when it was something like that, when you were passing through like the paddock.
So we did that first in Sebring, right? We did that where we put a center cage in the course, and then Reno's the last track I designed for MultiGP. Kind of fun fact. And if you look at all the tracks I designed back in the day, they were just mathematical formulas that I made into a track. But yeah, that one had the same effect, which was like a cage, so the spectators could walk in and look at their course from the inside, which was cool.
Mm-hmm. Good. All right, so we got Hyper in the chat. So we got Hyper in the chat. Of course, first thing he said is camera position matters, which he's wrong. But also, Mr. Hyper went to Westco Throwdown, and there were 4 races at Westco Throwdown. And he took 4 trophies with him, all for the first place.
A clean sweep.
Yeah.
Good job.
And,
bring it back to Florida.
Yeah, and he did it not because of the camera position. Like, no matter what camera position he had, he would still win.
And he was on M32, too.
Oh, yeah, and he was on M32. And, yeah, I've heard, I don't know, maybe it's too much to share. I don't think it's too much. But because Amari was also there, and Hyper was talking to Amari. That's what I heard. That Hyper was like, "You gotta flash your ESC to the normal firmware, otherwise I'm not coming."
Oh,
yeah, and so yeah. Unfortunately, Amari was. I don't remember who was TQ. Hyper, can you remind me if you're TQ at Westco Throwdown on the Street League drones or not? But yeah, Amari was definitely faster than me. Unfortunately, I collided with him in the finals, and yeah, I was a little bit sad about that. That I don't know. I always feel like if I win, I want to win clean, and I took 3rd place, and that wasn't clean because I feel like Amari deserved to finish higher than me. But that's racing. That's racing. And speaking about Westco Throwdown, that was also a lot of fun. I want to say that it kind of have. If you've never been to Westco Throwdown, you should go, that's for sure. And it also kind of have IO vibes. It's a little bit smaller scale event, but it's in a very cool location where people like camping, and there's like a river, mountains around it. There are like trees, and it's a very cool location, very, very cool weather. And there is something special about like camping in a very cool place and doing drone racing at the same time. I really enjoyed it. And people that goes there, they're also very fun. The event is mainly for freestylers. I would say maybe it's like 60% about freestyle and 40% about racing. But racing is also pretty good there. We had like 30 or 40 people racing. That was very cool. And in fact, we have like a Myopic in the chat, and he was a race director there for micro drones and for UDL. We also had open class there, and we had a street league there. And yeah, that was a hell of a fun.
Hey, Limon, for open, let me just, my favorite moment was that we were flying with Red 5. This was the first time we went to West Coast Throwdown, and I brought the family and everything. We had high expectations. So we take each other in finals and lose. It was a double elimination, and we're like, okay, what am I supposed to do? And then we just, put our swimming suits on and went into the river with the inner tubes and everything, and just like took that lazy ride on the river. And that was like the best experience ever, right? You're like, okay, we got 2 hours until Street League starts, so let's just do it. So that's the vibe you get from West Coast Throwdown.
Yeah, it definitely. Like if you're freestyler, if you're not into racing at all, unfortunately, Chris Thomas said no more freestyle at IO, no freestyle on the track. but you can still do freestyle at Westco Throwdown. And in fact, Myopic just chimed in. He said FPV Skittles. He's a great guy, and he's also a racer. And apparently, he won freestyle with his micro. And that's
nice.
Yeah.
I
want to see the
I
DVR.
would let that happen, but that's why I don't run freestyle.
Yeah,
Wait, so you guys were both camping? Did you sleep in a tent?
Well, I slept in the car. I rented a car and I basically slept in the car. But there are like spots for RV. A lot of people are camping in the tents. Some people like rent RV or bring their own RV. It's basically like IO, right? Like whatever. You want to sleep in the tent, you sleep, and then you want to sleep. Someone was even sleeping in the, how do you pronounce this? The hammock? Hammock?
A hammock. Yeah.
A hammock? Yeah, because there are like a lot of trees, right? So he just put a hammock there and just slept there.
Dubiki spent a night sleeping on a high top chair at IO.
What? You can sleep anywhere.
Did you hear that?
No.
I was like, dude, they come join my Airbnb. He's like, no.
Yeah.
Didn't want to leave
the real experience.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place though. Where they have it at is outside of Rose something, Oregon. And it's at Whistler's Bend State Park. So it's an Oregon State Park. It's like the river goes all the way around it and makes like a little peninsula, and the whole state park is a peninsula, and they rent out the entire park. So the only people that are there for the event. And it's a really cool vibe for Roseburg. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So how would you compare shower, for example, IO and West Coast Throwdown?
Oh, I would say that the shower is better at IO because West Coast Throwdown is like a very blue state water saving prison shower where you like have to push the button and you get like 15 seconds of water, and then you have to push the button again to get more water, and like that is quite a difficult shower to take, in my opinion.
And there is 60 Fahrenheit water, right? River right next to it.
Yes. Yeah. So definitely showers are better at IO.
But I found out that I figured like that IO, it's harder to take a shower because there's like more people. You come to this little building and it's pretty often the shower is occupied by someone. At Westco Throwdown, I don't know. I never had that happen. I like every time I wanted to take a shower, it was just there. Maybe everyone was just walking dirty there. So like my man.
Is it close enough to where you could stay in a hotel or an Airbnb at West Coast Throwdown? Like, how deep in the woods is it? Because
it
at
is
IO,
about a 20-minute drive from the town.
The
so
nearest.
You could, but just like IO, I recommend if you go to West Coast Throwdown, you should not stay in a hotel. You should stay on site. And like IO, I think you should also work to stay on site and not, because the first time I went to West Coast Throwdown, I stayed in the hotel. Also, the first time I went to IO, I stayed in the hotel, and I've never stayed in the hotel again for either of those events because it really just, I feel like you miss out on a bunch. And yeah, Double A saying it right here. You leave, you miss out. So there's so much that happens. If you can just walk or scooter ride yourself back to your camp area when you're ready to lay yourself down, that's awesome. But if you find out something else is popping off, then you can just head back to the party. So I think that's
true.
really good.
And the Westco Throwdown is a little smaller area than IO, and because I was mostly interested in racing, right? So racing is like one area, and even though I was camping the further spot from drone racing course, I was still able to just walk back. It's like whatever, 5 minutes walk, even like 3 minutes walk, and you're fine. But a lot of people also bringing a lot of cool stuff to ride, and I was taking advantage of that, just riding different bikes or whatever they're bringing. So
amount of one wheels and electric scooters was insane.
Yeah.
How far, like when you for those of you who travel from out of town, because I looked at coming, I think last year, and I think it was about 4 hours airport to venue, right? Is that the closest airport you fly into?
You can fly. So if you fly into Portland, it's a 3.5-4 hour drive. You can fly to what's the capital of Oregon? It's a smaller town. You can also fly there, and it's about an hour and a half away.
Portland. No,
it's not Portland.
Portland is 3 hours away from West Coast Throwdown.
Yeah, but Eugene, there you go, Bernie.
Eugene,
You can fly to Eugene, Oregon, but like it costs more to fly there. But that's an option. So Bernie says it's an hour away. It's a small airport, so there's some advantages to having a small airport. You could fly yourself there, and like probably Roseburg has a municipal airport.
I thought about that. That would be a cool trip. Yeah.
Yeah, so let me just share some photos. Unfortunately, I really wanted to show the photos of the area, but there are not many of these. So these are just, you can like peek behind the photo just to see what's around. And like this hill is on the other side of the river. So if you like go down there, there's a river you can swim in. Yeah, and you can like do on the floaty and just go around. That was also very fun. And this is, by the way, we did also there the tandem racing, or like 2 pilots, 1 quad racing, where me and Bernie took 2nd place, and people were making fun of how we fly, because we were like flying like this, holding hands, like on both side of the radio.
Oh, that's sweet.
Like, that's romantic.
Next year, you'll print some rings that like interlock, like with magnets or something. That's cute.
Yeah. So it's just how you just feel like you're holding your radio, almost like you're holding your radio. Because if you just leave your other hand, it feels a little weird. Bernie was also telling me, like, because he was operating with a throttle, and he was like, all right, so you put your, whatever, how do you call this finger? The big finger.
Your thumb.
Thumb. So he was like, you gotta put your thumb on my hand and move your thumb like you're moving throttle, so that I knew what you want to do. And I was like, whoa, this is going to be a little too intimate that I also pat your hand.
So Ivan, when the first race was there with like tandem racing, we were flying with Z-Stone, and he was hugging me from the back. So we
Yeah.
And after that, I've never flown a race.
We call it the romantic position.
It was too romantic, yeah.
Yeah, so there we go. We got Hyper on the 1st place, Sky 2nd, and me on the 3rd place for the Street League. I also first time in my life tried to race UDL. This is a micro drone, 75 millimeters. They have RPM limit and certain weight requirement. It's very challenging to fly, but it was a ton of fun. Let me show the track real quick. So Mr. Yeti FPV gave me his drone to fly. Where's the open class? Yeah, there's UDL. So you can see the picture is not very nice. I think something was happening with the camera, but this is just how this drone's flying. Let's see. So this is at start, you go full throttle, and that's how, like, let's see, that's how full throttle feels on that drone. And this is very little 75 millimeter thing. And you basically stay full throttle almost all the time. Probably even more than on Street League. And they're all like with, like, you have to cover your drone with LEDs. That's like one of the requirements. And
that's cool. It's like tiny spec racing. I love that.
Yeah, tiny spec racing. And they also have one boost, which is a little longer than in the Street League. But yeah, and then you go through this pavilion, and you just basically fly above the people partying.
That's awesome.
That was a ton of fun. And somehow I managed to take, I think, 2nd place or 3rd place, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. Shout out to Yeti FPV for, providing me his drone. And yeah, shout out to Myopic for organizing the racing there for micro drones. That was a ton of fun. I think, Neil, you would definitely love flying these, because the open class micro drones, they basically feel like open class.
Yeah.
5-inch. They're a little less toxic because you don't break as much stuff, but it's still you gotta move your fingers very fast.
It's difficult, yeah.
Yeah. But these drones, yeah, they're like even slower than Street League. Feels slower, feels more drifty than Street League, and yeah,
that's awesome.
Fun.
Yeah, I'm into that. I would. I think I want to build a UDL quad, especially if some other guys around here are going to do it. Like, I think that's. I mean, slow quads is my style of racing, so I'm into it for sure.
Yeah, Mr. Chris. Speaking about IO and Westco Throwdown, we already know the dates for Westco Throwdown. Is there a chance you can manipulate so that the dates are a little further away from each other?
What's the date for the West Coast Throwdown next year?
Same as this year. I already forgot. It's like May. Let me see.
No, it's
so May, June 20.
Let's look it up.
June 26th, June 26th to 29. It's basically that week.
We're probably going to be stuck in June again this year.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get the official date approved until the end of the season at AMA. But otherwise, it's going to push us too late because the IRCHA event is the one that usually we run into when we try to book in August. So I'd like to tell you yes, but it's just like, make it a more fun summer camp experience.
Yeah.
Do one, take some time off, and go do the next one.
Yeah, I was okay, but I just know that some people didn't go because it's like too close. Like I think Cole would go if it was a little further away. Neil probably would go if it was further away in time. Maybe even Johnny 5 would show up, famous YouTube star. See?
14,000 subscribers.
Yeah, and this
maybe so.
Yeah, Neil sent me the link to on the Google Maps to the area where Westco Throwdown happens, and yeah, basically this is how it looks. This is like all mountains around. They're not very high mountains, but they're respectable mountains. And people.
I'll just clarify that they look like mountains to people that live in Texas.
For sure.
For people, that live like in places that have actually mountains, they're like those are not mountains. But to us, Texans, the Flatlanders, maybe even to Chris lives in Florida, those are definitely mountains.
Those are mountains.
Yeah. And so, so this is like the area where drone racing course is, and this is all the camping area. And you can walk to the river either like here or right here, and people were swimming in the river. You go here with a floaty inflatable thing, and you just like swim around the river. It just takes you to here, and then you get off here. And this is like a freestyle area, was a freestyle competition, and also people camping here. And they also build like a tiny, whatever, the micro drone Whoop freestyle track with LEDs that was up there like 24/7. Yeah, that was very fun. Yeah, did you enjoy Westco Throwdown?
Yeah, actually, the river experience was the one that I cannot forget because it has underwater stones, and we were flying with the kids, and we had limited amount of inner tubes, and so you end up in the water, and then you hit them from time to time. So you're gonna like maneuver left and right, and you can't really stop. But it was pretty fun. Yeah, we stayed in a hotel, but next time I think I'm gonna do camping. And we want to integrate a little more in a schedule because we've flown ARs for a little bit, right, at night, but then started overlapping with tiny whoops, if you remember.
Yeah.
And this didn't go well, but ARs are the best, like when it's getting dark, so you can see them really. But yeah, we put some packs in and shown the public what it is. I think it was exciting experience.
Yeah, that's cool. And I think this is another thing about Westco Throwdown, that it's also area where you can bring your family and kids, and they would love it. So last year I went there with my wife and kids. They really liked it there because you can bring your family and wife to IO, but it's got to be a certain type of wife. You know what I mean? Like Cole and Chrissy, right? Like my wife definitely not into that.
Yeah, mine neither.
Yeah, cornfield is a little different from the woods. It has this charm. I want to say, Lemon, that previous DVRs from West Coast Throwdown, they were showing a little more woods section, right? Was it different this year? Because we were expecting like you'll fly in, like tracks in Texas.
Yes. Last year the track I would say was worse than this year track, because last year track because the woods are pretty dense there, and you basically like full throttle straight line into the woods where you can't really see where you're supposed to go, and then you should turn around the random tree and like go back out of there on full throttle too. And a lot of pilots complained about it, and they heard the complaints. And they changed it. So now we use some of the woods, we use that branch, but we didn't go too deep in there. So
gotcha. So it looked really good on the previous years.
It looked good, but especially in open class, it was not fun to fly. Especially if you like trying to win or podium. Yeah, that wasn't fun to fly. Because
I love very much racing in the trees so much, but it's got to be designed right, and you just have to be really careful with how you use the trees and you use the spaces between the trees. If you're just full throttling through a wall of trees and trying to pick your way through it, that's not particularly fun for anyone except the spectators.
No, I love trees. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I love trees.
Is it more dense than Sparks? Like, that's our home field that we fly. We've hosted a few races. There is some trees, but is it like more dense than? Because I feel like our track is like pretty manageable, but if it was more populated with trees, it could be more difficult.
I would say the tree area they have there is a quarter of the size of Sparks with 4 times as many trees as Sparks.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, that's definitely like hard mode for sure.
Yeah.
And most of the track is on the field. So this year, I think it was a good balance. Mr. Princess designed both of the tracks for Street League and Open Class, and he just used a few trees on the edge, and they're like very visible. You can see them well. Nobody had problems of like figuring out what trees they should go around. That was good. The tracks were good. If someone from Westco Throwdown crew hears me, I think the only thing that I would change is do the same track or very similar track between Street League and Open Class, because I've heard a lot of people complaining that it's like might be not enough time to fly or learn the track, and then they change the track, and also you kind of waste time on rebuilding.
Yeah, changing tracks was not a good idea. I agree.
Yeah, but it was still fun. I'm not complaining. Just suggestion of what could have been better from my point of view. But
so is Texas Nationals going to be a next big event that we're going to participate?
We're debating about Texas Nationals. It's been ongoing.
Can we make it next? Like West Coast Throwdown or IO?
Yeah, but everyone.
It would be great. We would. Lucas, who had hosted the Texas Winter Nationals every year. 1 year, Levi famously signed up like after midnight and just showed up. Like nobody even expected him to be there. He just showed up, took the money, and went back home. And in fact, it was unseasonably cold in December in Texas that year. And so Yvonne actually loaned him his jacket because he's from California. He didn't bring a jacket. And he won, stole all the money, went back home. I think he wouldn't have won if you wouldn't have loaned him his jacket. But I think Lucas is saying he may not hold that event again. So it could be up to us to bring the tradition back. What do you guys think?
We can do it.
Yeah, at Sparks for sure. We can do that.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Looks like we lost CT.
Oh, damn. It's because he's like Westco Throwdown. I'm not interested.
Yeah, we talked about it too much. Well, we're coming close to hitting our
that's true
in time anyways. Any more points to wrap up on before we shut her down? I know that we have a couple of things left, but it feels like maybe some of them are a little too long-winded for us to go into right now. John, take number 11 though.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Number 11 is... Oh, my gosh. So every year I come to International Open and I want what everybody else wants. When you get on site, I want that tendy. I want that pork tenderloin sandwich in my hand. Before I even put on the first pair of props, I want that sandwich on. I'm not even reaching for my prop tool. And day one, when I get on site, the tendy man is there. He's got his little cart up. He's got the sign up. The sign says pork tenderloin sandwich, whatever it is, $8, $9, whatever it is. And Jess goes up to get me my tendy sandwich because I'm busy racing, and no tendies. No tendies on day one. He didn't have any ready. I'm like, what was more like? That's like Santa showing up with no presents. Like, why even come? You can't even come down the chimney, eat the cookies and drink the milk if you're not going to bring me my tendy sandwich, Santa. Like, I don't know. I was so upset. Thankfully, the tendies were in full effect for the rest of the week, so I ate one every single day that I could to make up for it. But I don't know about you guys. That's my main thing I go to IO for, other than the drone racing, is that tendy sandwich. It is so delicious. But yeah, have them ready on day one next year.
Day one tendies.
I want to also continue this John story because I usually, when I go to IO, I also dream about hot dogs because they usually they have the hot dogs thing, and they were there. I'm not sure if they were there the first day. It'd be nice to have them, but they were also like wrapping up at 5 or even 4 p.m. That's like the time where I usually wake up. So I want that hot dog like at 7 p.m. You know, and there's racing happening. There are like people hanging around. If CT joins back here, or maybe he watches live stream, he probably won't. CT, we need sandwiches and hot dogs until racing is over.
Longer hours. Longer
hours.
Yeah, we had an internal tattoo chat, and then Miguel was like, I think the first day or the second day of IO, he's like, okay, we're gonna do a tattoo picture like 10 a.m. and then there's no response. I'm like, bro, I'm just waking up at 10 a.m.
Yeah, you gotta be smart. You gotta understand your audience.
These guys were up with their tent like every day, super early, right?
Yeah. Piper says genius marketing. They got you, Johnny 5.
Yeah, Bernie was talking about this last day. So he's got a friend who's a chef who's talking about coming out to do like late night food just for IO. And I think that it needs to happen.
Yeah.
So he'll have a captured audience for sure.
If you guys participate in the next Cali Clash, we might have a private chef for you too.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Neil likes it.
Well, I think this has been a good time back. Mr. Rabbit Ambulance, we're going to have to accept your bribe and make sure that we're back sooner. It's always a pleasure to sit down with you guys. We always have a good time. It always amazes me how quick our 2 hours goes by. Yeah, it's been a good start.
I'll bribe you for the next time, all right?
All right.
The one after.
We'll allow it.
Thank you. You guys are awesome.
You're awesome.
Well, Dean, thank you very much. Dean was a special guest today. Check out Dean Drones. Dean is a frame designer. Big ambassador for drone racing. He has his cool frames. Johnny 5 has a few of his frames, and they look pretty good. Look at that. Look at that beauty.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it. Let's wrap it up. And I'm ending the stream in 3, 2, 1, and camera position does not matter.